Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode here at WILDMAN Lives. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now on today's episode, we're going to pop into the gym when I was doing a deadlift workout. And per the title of this video, I'm going to explain why sometimes deadlifts are tricky. And what I mean by that is you'd think it was pretty easy. All you have to do is just pick the bar up and bring it up to your hips. It's pretty simple, right? But obviously, if you've deadlifted ever in your life, you know that it's not that easy and it's actually quite complicated. It's one of the most technical compound lifts out there. But even if you're a master technician, sometimes you're going to walk into the gym thinking, whatever, I'm going to move up in reps. But you get up to like 3/4 of your working reps getting up to that weight you want to hit, and you can't even lift that. It's really strange and mysterious, but it's actually not that mysterious. So let's pop into today's workout, and I'll explain why that deadlift is pesky and tricky. So for today's workout, I'm doing giant strength format. So I'm starting off with the deadlift, like I just said, and I'm throwing a chain around there. And later, I'm going to explain why I'm using that chain on this particular day. And the plan was to work up in a 3-rep tandem until I got to my working sets, and then try to see where I'm at with a 1-rep max with those chains. And as I'm going up in weight on the deadlift, I'm also going to be doing something called a bar facing burpee. I really love doing these because number one, you get some excellent conditioning, but number two, it really primes your hips and your explosiveness as you're going up in weight on the deadlift. That's why I like doing these. And the third exercise I was doing was the rowing erg. And I'm only going to show you this one time because I don't want to keep showing you that I was rowing the entire time. I think you'll get it. So I'm mainly just going to show you the deadlifts and the bar facing burpees, but just know I'm doing rowing as well in between. And that's going to be the giant strength set for the day. And as I'm filming this episode, I really hope somebody doesn't do something foolish, such as stepping through on the video while I'm trying to film myself lifting. Although that happened to me, that guy actually knew I had a camera and everything like that. I just don't think he cared. But that guy's actually my good buddy, so he gets a pass for this time around. Now back to my point about why the deadlift is so tricky. As you're going up in weight sometimes, you might be able to surprise yourself and hit a PR. And if that's the case, good for you. You should always take it and take that as a win. But sometimes you'll think, wow, I was working up on my normal set and that weight was good, it moved quickly, so the next time I do deadlift on my next deadlift day, I should be able to increase the weight by like, 10 or 5 pounds or something, right? At least go up in weight. But as you're working up to that set, you get like 3/4 of the way and you can't even lift that 3/4 of a weight of what you did last week. And it's really weird, right? But it's really not that mysterious. What's happening is there's these muscles that are along your spine that is supposed to, and its one job is to protect your spine and make sure that your spine is supported. So when your spine doesn't feel supported, since it's the command center for your body, right? That is the command center for your central nervous system. If the spine doesn't feel supported because those muscles are weak or fatigued, then it's going to go into panic mode when you're trying to lift a deadlift, and you're just going to have to set it right back down or not even pull it from the ground, because your brain thinks that if it pulls that weight or actually puts some exertion into it, then your heart and your internal organs and everything's going to shut down. So when your spine is under threat because those muscles are weak or fatigued, that's the reason why you can't lift a heavy amount of weight. So when you're deadlifting, you want to make sure that you're actually doing stuff that's going to make it that your spine feels supported. This includes when you're weightlifting, not going maximal heavy weight every single time you go to the gym, not just on deadlift day, but on any compound movement day. Because since a compound movement has to use your entire body, it's going to use those little muscles that are along your spine. And when those muscles get fatigued, that's when the spine feels unsupported. This is one of the reasons why you should follow strength training programs, but also that you should be doing some conditioning movements such as bar facing burpees or rowing, because it really wakes everything up, and hopefully it'll be able to wake your spine up as well where it feels supported, so you can use all the other muscles around your body in order to get this lift done. And that's why the deadlift is so tricky. Now for my top set, I loaded up 410 pounds at the bottom of the lift, and with those 40-pound chains, 450 pounds total on the bar. And it moved very smooth, very efficiently. I didn't have to hitch, it was just a straight hinge all the way up. So I couldn't be happier than how that went. Since I've been dealing with a hip impingement on the outside of my hip and the inside of my thigh, I wanted to make sure that I was starting over again on both the back squat and the deadlift, and making sure that I'm going into the gym and I'm hitting efficient weight and kind of working up to those big reps again. So this was a very good spot for me to be in. And that same guy who walked through my video still bugging me as I'm trying to row. My gosh, bro, I'm trying to work out here. Now for the variation giant set, I continue to do that rowing and also the bar facing burpees, but now I'm doing the back squat as my main lift. Mainly just trying to get more volume into my back squat. So this is a very lightweight, obviously, but since I am trying to work through that hip impingement and that inner thigh pain, I just thought doing 3 pounds and gradually working up with no belt, no equipment on, and making sure that I'm really concentrating on my form and getting more repetitions in was more important. So you're going to be seeing a lot of that lately where I'm doing the back squat, but I'm also doing deadlifts on my back squat days. So those are going to be the variation lifts for just a minute, just trying to get more volume and repetition so I can heal a little bit better. Now for the accessory giants, I was doing 3 rounds. I was doing rope supination curls. This is a great exercise to do in order to really target that inner bicep tendon. And then I was also doing some hitchhikers, but since I didn't have a band that came out, I was doing it on the machine. So very lightweight, making sure to do that hitchhiker movement. And then I was trying to burn out my legs, mainly my hamstrings. So I was doing my right leg where I was doing a single leg hamstring curl. And then I would switch over to my left side and I would do some left single leg hamstring curls. And then I would quickly move into both. So I was doing 3 rounds of that, just trying to finish off my legs and get a very good pump in the hamstrings. And that actually did it. That was the workout for the entire day. So there you go. That's why the deadlift is tricky in its nature. And hopefully, now that you have a better understanding, you'll be able to go into your next deadlift workout with a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more prep in order to combat this. Really appreciate everybody stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.